Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to replace the battery on this 13-inch MacBook Pro model A1502 early 2015. Alright, so we're going to use a P5 or Pentalobe 1.2 screwdriver, as well as a T5 or Torque 5 screwdriver, excuse me. We'll also use a scraping tool, and we'll use this to cut through the adhesive. I've heard other people use dental floss and things like that. You could probably do that and maybe use a little rubbing alcohol to do that. And oh yeah, we are going to use rubbing alcohol as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove all the Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screws. You want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that, flat side down like this on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So you have this rectangular pattern. So we're just going to remove them and put them in that, that order. Alright, so if you happen to mix them up for some reason, the back two here are shorter than the rest, so keep that in mind. Alright, and let's go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Okay, so we are replacing the battery on this MacBook. Of course, the other thing, if you haven't already, you want to make sure to shut down and turn off the MacBook completely. Alright, so I'll check that once I get all these screws out, just in case. A lot of times customers like to bring me their computers without removing that. Is this screw different? I think they clogged something in the screw, so I'm going to use a needle and try and get that out because my screwdriver's not fitting in there. Yeah, there was something stuck in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue removing these screws. Alright, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Right? These are customer computers, so keep that in mind. Most of the time, by the time you see these videos, I won't have this computer on hand. So yeah, alright, so as you can see, it's really dusty inside. So I'm going to clean that up and then I'll be back. Alright, but here you can see what the inside looks like. We are going to have to remove the trackpad cable on this model. We will leave the trackpad in place, and then we're going to move the speakers aside. But other than that, let me clean this up and I'll be back. Alright, see you guys in a bit. Alright, I'm back. So we cleaned it out. You can see it's a lot less dusty here. Alright, and that's all cleaned up as well. I want to check the battery, make sure it's the same. Alright, so it looks like this. Okay, so the customer told me to replace it. I'm not sure if it's actually bad or giving a warning. Physically, it looks okay. A lot of times I'll see these batteries are like bulging out, but this one I don't see that. Excuse me. Alright, anyways, we're going to switch to the T5 or Torque 5 screwdriver. And then we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery first. Let me zoom in here so you can see how that works. Okay, so the way you disconnect it, you can see the connector here. It has a little lip that's sticking up, so you just pull up like that, and usually I'll do that on both sides here. So I'll go grab both corners with my fingernails like this and pull it up. You can pull it up however works for you, but this is how I do it. Okay, just like that, and there we go, we got the battery disconnected. Usually after disconnecting the battery, I like to open up the computer and then press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This will make it a lot safer to work on. It's not super important for this type of repair, but if you're messing with the screen or anything, it's very important. I like to do it just to be safe. So yeah, it only takes 15 seconds, so might as well. Alright, and it helps in case you accidentally drop something on the circuits over here. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the the trackpad connector here, again using the T5 or Torque 5 screwdriver. So there's two screws. You want to keep the screws in order because they are different size, shape, lengths. Alright. I mean, specifically these might be the same, but I like to keep them in order anyways. We're going to take the metal plate out and we're going to set that aside. Okay. Next thing we got to do is remove this cable. So I just get underneath opposite corners like this, and then I kind of just wiggle and pull it, and there we go. You want to be careful not to crease this cable, and we're going to pull it this way while also lifting it up. Alright, and that's how we keep it flat. I like to keep my finger ahead of it so it doesn't accidentally just like rip it out when there's no adhesive left. Okay, so we're going to pull like this, slowly working our way down. Okay, again, I'm holding this, and there we go. So now all the adhesive is up. We're going to flip this latch. Okay, once we flip that latch, we're going to just pull on this. You want to go slow, just keep constant pressure on it and slowly pull it, and eventually the adhesive holding it in will give out. So there we go. This is the keyboard. Sorry, not the keyboard, the trackpad cable. If the trackpad cable gets messed up or the trackpad is damaged, the keyboard won't work either, so keep that in mind. Apple made some weird dumb design where the keyboard won't work if the trackpad is having issues. Okay, so anyways, next thing we're gonna do, let's see, we don't have to remove that, so let's go ahead and move on to the speakers on the bottom corner here. Okay, so what we're gonna do, there's 3 screws holding them in place. Let's just go ahead and remove those 3 screws. Okay, we're gonna remove that just so we can move the speakers out of the way to make it easier to get this battery pack out. Okay, so we'll get those 3 out. Just like this. Now that we got those 3 screws out, we can go underneath here, lift it slightly. Okay, and then we can kind of wiggle this and lift that out. This cable here is held in with some adhesive, so you want to be careful when peeling this up. You don't want to just yank it out. All right, it is a little dusty on here, so I'm going to brush that out with the toothbrush and clean it up a little. Okay, so we're just going to brush this up. Okay, get those crumbs and stuff out of there. And you want to be careful because these speakers are known to fail. So I've had a lot of these models where the speakers start getting all crackly. I don't know if it's something with Apple setting the max volume higher on the newer updates, or if it's the plastic over time gets brittle. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of these speakers fail, so just be careful with that. All right, we're going to remove the 3 screws from this speaker as well. Same thing, keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. Okay, the one on the corners here, furthest to the corner of the laptop, are longer than the rest. And not only that, but the threads go all the way up. The ones up here have like a smooth spot. So if you do happen to mix them up, you can see here, it looks like that. Okay, so we'll set that aside. This speaker we're actually going to remove from the computer. So we're going to do the same thing to lift it up, right, at an angle. Wiggle it, and then we're gonna get this, swing it out so that the cable can go out from underneath here. Okay, just like this. And then once you get to here, we're gonna pry this thing out. It helps to use a thin, flat tool. All right, I can use my fingernails to do this, but since most people won't have fingernails, you can use something thin like this. Basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna angle this to go towards the center of the connector and get underneath there. All right, if your tool is the right size, then you can actually put the entire tool in there like this, and then you kind of just twist it a little and pop that out. All right, so there we go, just like this. And you want to be careful. Let me show you what it looks like underneath here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see a closer view. All right, so basically this connector here. Okay, what we're doing is we're getting underneath here. As you can see, there's actually a lip. So if I get in here, I can't move this tool to the sides, or I guess depend on the angle you're looking at right now, up and down. But basically it has a little groove or a cutout there so the tool can fit in, and then you can twist it and it pops the connector out. If you try and go from the cables here, you can damage these cables. So I've seen where people will actually break the plastic here where these cables go in. So again, you want to be very careful with that. All right, let me clean off this speaker off to the side. Okay. Pretty dusty, so we're just going to clean that out. Okay, so now that we got these speakers cleaned out, again, if your speakers have issues, I have a video showing how to replace them. All right, usually what happens is the ring around here cracks, and then that's what happens, and the speakers start making crackly noises. All right, so anyways, let's go ahead and clean this out. Oh, there's lots of dust in there, so I'm going to use some tweezers and get the dust out. Oh, sorry, you can't even see what I'm doing. Let me zoom out here. Okay, so there's a big thing of dust there, so clean that out. Okay, clean it out a bit more. Let's see if the other side has some dust still in there. We'll clean that out as well. Okay, so now that we got that all cleaned up, next thing we're going to do, we're going to remove one more screw from the battery up here. All right, again, there's another T5 or Torx 5 screw. Go ahead and remove that. Okay, Again, make sure to keep all these screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. If you mix them up, you can damage your computer. So now you can see we can kind of slightly lift this up. All right, last thing we're going to do is cut this whole battery out. There's a foam adhesive underneath. Okay, I keep getting people that use like non-flexible tools to cut it, and then they damage the battery packs. So you want to be very careful, because if you puncture these battery packs, it'll give off like toxic fumes that you don't want to breathe in. But also, if you puncture it really bad, you can actually cause a fire. Some people are saying it's because of the metal tool, but it's actually not because of the metal tool. You can even like stab it with a plastic tool, and if you do that, the batteries can like go on fire. So you want to be very careful. I use this tool because it's very thin and flexible, okay? And it's also not a knife. It's not super sharp. It's just very thin, okay? So you don't want to use a knife or something sharp. If you do use something that's sharp, it can only be sharp here. You don't want it to be sharp over here, because if you're like pushing underneath, so let's say you're sliding under here, the knife can cut like into the battery pack like sideways this way. So you want to be careful, okay? Again, a thin tool like this will works best. All right. Other people, again, will use like floss or something where you can kind of wrap it around and you can kind of cut through, but it hurts your hands a lot. So I don't use that method. You can add some rubbing alcohol in there while you cut it, and that might help a little bit. But again, I found that this method works the best, and that's why I use it. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut the battery pack out. So what I do is I get it angled like this. So basically, as you push it, you can see the tool will flex like this, and it will go underneath the battery pack. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so we're just going to go like this, and we're just going to cut straight underneath the battery pack. So once you get that, you're going to move it over. You don't want to cut in and then try and slide it, because then there's going to be a lot of pressure up on this raised edge. So you want to make sure to just pull it out and then go ahead and push it back. So that way the blade is always flat against the aluminum. Well, I mean, it's not really a blade, but yeah. All right, so we're going to just keep doing this, working our way over. Okay. All right, and there we go. So we got the first one out. All right, so now that you got that, you can actually see the foam underneath. So that's the adhesive. We're going to go ahead and continue on to the next one. So same thing, just keep pushing the tool in to cut the adhesive. All right, pull it back out, work your way over, and just continue doing the same thing. All right, so pull it back out. Maybe I should zoom out a little bit here. Okay, so we're just going to keep cutting this like that. That one's kind of stuck for some reason. Okay. All right, so we're going to continue cutting like this. All right, just like that. And there we go. We got the second pack out. We're going to flip this over, and we're going to do the same thing with the other side. The center has a little of a trick to it because it's raised up from the trackpad. So keep that in mind. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and keep cutting. Same thing, just get underneath and cut it. Again, I have the speaker hanging over the edge on the other side here, okay? So you want to be careful with that. Okay, we're just going to continue cutting like this. Okay, just like that. Okay, all right. I'm trying to think, if you use like a knife or something, you can actually wrap some tape or something over the blade. Maybe that might help. But again, it's best to have a tool like this where it's not sharp. Okay. All right, so we're going to continue cutting the adhesive here. Working our way over. Okay. This model, the adhesive might be able to peel off okay. On some of the models, the foam adhesive, when you go to peel it up, it actually just shreds into bits, and it's a lot more difficult to remove. This one, I think the adhesive won't be too bad. But anyways, let's continue cutting this battery out. Okay. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and peel this junk off the blade. All right. Okay, so now that we got these two on both sides, next we're gonna do is go into the center. So what you wanna do, you wanna lift this up. Okay, make sure it's all cut. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. So if you look at it here, you can actually see where the trackpad is raised up. So if you just go straight, you'll hit this metal piece. So you have to actually go slightly higher like this to get that pack out. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And usually what I do is I'll lift up this side and then we'll go like this to go underneath. All right, it's a little bit easier. Problem is you have to kind of hold them out of the way. Okay, and then as you push it, you can actually see the metal coming through underneath. All right, so then we pull it back, work our way down. All right, it's a little bit tricky to get up here, but I'll show you what to do when we get there. All right, and you want to be careful because you don't want to cut up into here and then damage the cables and everything over there. All right, if you do that, you're going to damage the keyboard, and that's going to be a very difficult, costly repair. Okay, so I have a video showing how to do that as well. If you do damage it, it might be better to just replace the entire keyboard palm rest assembly with the battery, because it's a lot easier to do. You basically just have to transfer the motherboard over. But okay. All right, and you want to be careful. If you go too far this way, you can damage the trackpad. So you want to make sure that you're not going over towards the trackpad thing here, okay? All right, so I think we got most of it up. It's weird, it's like cutting so easily down here, so I don't know if it's actually done or not. There we go, okay. All right, and then we're gonna work our way up here. Okay, so we're gonna angle the thing slightly over so that we can cut this way. And then what we're gonna do, once we kind of reach over here, I can see this corner, I'm gonna use this to help pull it up, and that should hopefully peel the adhesive from the corner there. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Wow, that adhesive for some reason is holding really strong. So we're gonna try going from the other side. And then once we cut all the adhesive, we can maybe go at an angle this way. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut this side. All right. Okay. Oh, this is tough. All right, then we're going to go ahead and work our way down. Okay. Work our way over again. For some reason, this middle adhesive is like cutting so easily. It's really weird. All right, work our way down again. Am I actually even cutting the adhesive? This is really strange. Okay. All right. Should be about the last one. Okay. Yep. All right. And let's go ahead and work our way back over here. All right. And then let's go ahead and go at an angle again so that we can cut up into the edge. Okay. I can actually see that the metal tool goes over here. Now let's see if I can get the tool all the way to the other side. I want to be careful with the keyboard. It's having an issue going up. So let's go ahead and see if we can just pry it out, even though it seems stuck there. Okay, so we can get that in there, and we're going to use this to kind of pry it up. And it's kind of going. All right, we might have to go this way because it's being stubborn. Again, you want to be careful for the trackpad. So I'm going to slowly, carefully cut up into that corner, and there we go. All right, so we got that one out. You want to peel the rest of the speaker up. All right, this one is super scary to peel up because the keyboard cable's right there, so I have to be careful. All right, not to cut too much, and there we go. Okay, so we got the battery out. Let me show you what it looks like underneath. Okay, so underneath you can see all the cut adhesive here. Okay, so it came out nicely. You can see there's no punctures or anything. All right, let's go ahead and set the battery aside. All right, next thing we're gonna have to do is get all this adhesive out here. Okay, it's a little dirty here. Let's clean that out. Okay. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna peel all of this out, okay? So what you do, get the plastic razor blade, and I'm gonna scrape it up a little bit, and then hopefully we can peel it off. And it somewhat peels off. Okay, so we're gonna continue working our way, right? Working our way down. The reason you wanna peel it off if you can is it leaves less of the residue behind. I don't know if you can actually see the residue that's being left behind, but there's a lot of that residue there. So we are gonna have to use a bunch of rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol to get it out. All right. This part's all cut too much, so it's gonna be tough. All right, let's see if we can scrape this up and peel it out. Okay, so now we got that. Let's go ahead and peel this. All right, just like this. You want to go slow when peeling this up. Okay, the adhesive layer is separating from this, so can't really do much about it. We are going to have to use the rubbing alcohol to clean it off. Okay. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and get this one out. Okay. All right. Let's peel this back. Okay. The adhesive is separating. It's making it more difficult to peel, but all right, well, it tore. Let's go ahead and keep going. Okay. And we're just going to continue peeling out this adhesive, all right? Okay. Continue peeling this up. Oh, it's leaving a lot of residue behind. That's going to be a pain to clean up. All right. If you end up leaving this residue, it's going to be very difficult to, or the replacement battery is not going to stick very well. So you kind of want to try and get all the residue up if you can. And again, we're going to use rubbing alcohol to get the remaining out. Some people would tell me they use acetone, but you want to be very careful with acetone because it can dissolve plastic. So you want to be very careful. There's a lot of plastics like the keyboard and stuff. If you get it there, it'll actually dissolve that and it'll melt the keys. All right. Let's continue getting these off. Okay. Continue getting this out. Oh, it's leaving so much residue behind. Okay, let's go ahead and get this one out. getting there. Okay. All these shiny parts of the adhesive, they're gonna have a tough time for the rubbing alcohol to get to, so I'm gonna just roughen them up. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and get this. Get in there. Okay. Okay. Alright, almost done. I'm getting some messages, so I might have to stop for a bit and I'll be back. But let's go ahead and try and at least get this one back. Get this one off completely. And then we'll continue with cleaning off the residue. Alright. Okay. Alright. Got all of that. Scrape that all up. Okay, so let me respond to some messages real quick and I'll be back. All right, see you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So let's go ahead and clean up this adhesive residue. So what I do is I get paper towels, all right, just pieces of paper towels, and then I kind of fold them up. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray, or you can pour some rubbing alcohol in here. All right, if you don't have a spray bottle, I'm going to kind of put this here to kind of prevent it from splashing everywhere. Alright, so we're going to get some rubbing alcohol in there, and basically we're just going to use that to help dissolve the adhesive here. Alright, you can already see it taking effect. It's turning more goopy. Alright, we're just going to coat the adhesive residue with the rubbing alcohol. Okay, just like this. And then, if you can just if you want, you can just let it soak there. Or you can speed it up by kind of helping scrape it along. Alright, so just like this. Let's see. Hopefully you can see that gunk is coming out. Maybe let me zoom in a bit here and focus more on the spot I'm cleaning. Alright, sorry it's wobbling so much. There we go. Alright, and you can see that gooey gunk coming out. Okay, I'm just going to continue going like that. Okay, just like this. Keep working it until we get all that gunk out. Alright. Just like this. Alright, just like that. Alright, and we're going to basically take this residue, or not the residue, but the rubbing alcohol here, and get it all over the residue up there, since there's excess, and basically slowly dissolve that stuff as well. You can actually see the adhesive turning a little milky there, and that's how you kind of know it's working. Alright. This stuff all coated with the rubbing alcohol. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can scrape this stuff up. Okay, it's coming out. Hopefully you can actually see all the stuff coming out. Let me zoom out a bit more. Alright. Continue scraping this stuff out. Okay, and we're going to also have to wipe the stuff out of here before it dries up. Okay, otherwise it's going to be a pain later. Continue scrubbing this stuff out. Okay, let's go ahead and wipe this stuff up on this side so it doesn't harden in there. Okay. We're just going to clean it up. Okay. Lift it up and then fold it over to a clean spot. And we'll continue doing the same thing. Sometimes it helps to get a little bit of the rubbing alcohol on the paper towel itself. Okay, and then we'll just wipe that up some more. Okay, I'm going to wipe up this side too before it completely solidifies. And then we're going to have to use a clean paper towel with rubbing alcohol to kind of clean this residue. You can see it's all goopy everywhere. Okay, fold over to a clean spot. Alright, let's get a clean one and continue cleaning it. Okay. We'll just wipe all of this stuff up. Alright, you can see after we scraped it, most of the residue kind of cleans off a lot easier. Okay. Alright, looks like there's some here that's kind of still tough, but just keep working at it and you'll get it. Alright. Let's go ahead now and work on the other side. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit more. Okay. Let's go ahead and get to this side. I'm going to clean this one and then we'll use that leftover stuff to clean that like before. Okay, so I'm going to block this here. Go. And just get all the residue with the rubbing alcohol. Alright. Continue just working this stuff up. Okay. Just like that. Alright, you can see all this residue is just coming out. Alright, same thing. We're going to get the adhesive residue, or sorry, the rubbing alcohol here and just transfer it over to this residue here because there's so much excess. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's wipe up this goop before it sticks. Okay, I'm going to fold this over to a clean side and wipe this stuff up. Alright, that's probably good enough. Let's see if we can scrub this stuff off. Okay, you can see it's scraping up. Okay, just like that. Alright. Get this stuff off. Alright, well, this one's a lot more difficult to get out. Let's go ahead and clean this off. Okay, I'm going to try with a paper towel that's just soaked with rubbing alcohol and see if we can clean that stuff up. So we're just folding up a torn piece of paper towel. Okay, now let's go ahead and wipe this off. Okay, there's some bits here that are still pretty stubborn. Scrape it it up. Looks like it's working. There we go. Okay, clean that off. Let's go ahead and continue wiping this up. Alright. Getting most of it up. We're going to have to use a clean paper towel again to get most of this residue off that's still stuck in there. Okay. Alright, let's zoom out a bit. You can see it's a lot cleaner now. Oop, didn't need to zoom out that much. Okay, so here you can see it's a lot cleaner. We're going to go ahead and wipe it up again with some rubbing alcohol. Probably going to do this 2 or 3 times just to make sure to get it all clean so it's not so bad. Okay. Now we're going to fold it over to a clean side, add some more rubbing alcohol, wipe it up again. Okay, clean that up again. Alright, let's get a clean paper towel and continue again. Alright, we're going to do this a few times to try and get all the residue out. Alright, it's very difficult to get it like 100% all the residue off, so you don't have to get it 100% clean. As long as it doesn't have any thick layer of the sticky stuff, you should be okay. Let's peel that off. Okay, so we're gonna fold it over now. Again. Alright, just about there. So hopefully you can see it's a lot less cloudy and stuff on here. Okay, there we go. All right, that's about as good as we're gonna get it. So let's go ahead now and get the replacement battery back in. Okay, so the replacement battery, we're gonna open it up. Okay, so the way it comes with this hard plastic back on it. We're gonna peel that off. All right, then there's a clear layer that basically just keeps the battery pack all lined up. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get these plastic pieces lined up down here. Okay, so it goes onto this raised area over there, on there. Okay, so we'll get those lined up. We're gonna slowly drop it down into place and watch for the screw mount hole over here. Okay, you wanna make sure that that reaches. For some reason, it's a little bit too far over here, so we're gonna help move it that way. Where'd it go? Okay, no, that's right. I just have to pull it down a little. So there we go. Okay, so that's all lined up. Slowly drop that into place. Okay. Drop that into place. Okay, and there we go. Make sure this lines up. All right, and there we go. This piece is kind of preventing it from sticking down, so I peeled that up a little. Okay, then we should be able to swing this over and it should be able to drop back in right. There we go. Okay, so that looks good. All right, we can go ahead and get the other speaker. Make sure to guide this underneath here. Okay, just like that. And swing it over, click that back down into place. And then swing this back down and over. Okay, let's see, there we go. All right, and then make sure this lines up, which, okay, it does. So first thing we're gonna do is put back that screw that holds this battery connector into place. You will have to kind of move this to align it. Actually, let me zoom in so you can see better. Okay, so right here. All right, so you're gonna line that up with the screw hole. I don't know if you can see it, but There we go. Okay, tighten that into place, and we are good. Let's zoom back out. Okay, so it looks good. You can actually test this first if you want before you peel up this piece, but I'm gonna just peel it off. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and we're gonna have to remove it. So when you peel this thing, you want to roll the adhesive off just like this, okay? You don't want to pull it straight up because you don't want it to separate the layers of the battery internally. Okay, so we're just rolling it like that. All right, there we go. Now we got all of that. Let's go ahead and reconnect, or I guess let's go ahead and put the speaker screws back in first. Make sure everything goes into place. All right. Okay, I like to make sure everything's lined up by loosely fitting the screws first. Okay, and once you got all 3 screws in, you can go ahead and tighten it down. Just like that. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with this side. All right, loosely fit the screw. Okay. All right, go ahead and tighten that down. All right, now we've got all those screws in. Let's go ahead and get the trackpad cable back in. Okay, so basically what you do, first get this piece lined up. All right, hold this tab out of the way, make sure this latches up, and then at an angle, we're gonna push that into place, okay? So just like this. All right, once you got that in, you can go ahead and slide your finger over the top to latch it back down. Then I like to hold the middle up, all right? And then we're gonna connect this, get it lined up. All right, and then push that, click it into place. Then you can go ahead and work your way from the middle and stick that back down. All right, we're gonna now put this metal cover back on, or metal bracket, whatever it is. Okay, get that into place, get that screw, make sure it's all lined up, and then you can go ahead and tighten it. Okay, get the second screw, get that in. All right, there we go. And then now to reconnect the battery, what I like to do is I like to focus on one corner here. So I get that top corner in. Once you get that corner in, you can go ahead and work on the other side. And then you can go ahead and, oops, sorry, push the whole thing down. Okay, just like that. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna test it before we put the base screws on. Let's go ahead and put this cover. You can kind of click it into place. Oops, I should have zoomed out here so you can see the whole thing. All right, so there we go. We're gonna open this up. And then usually I like to do a PRAM and SMC reset. So SMC reset, if you have the plug-in, if it's showing orange, when you press it, it'll go green and then back to orange. So that's how you know you did it right. But basically Control Option Shift on the left side, then the power button. You'll normally see the light go from orange to green and then back to orange. After you've done that, then you can go ahead and power it up, and we'll do a PRAM reset. So power button, Command Option P and R, hold those buttons down. All right, assuming the MacBook is turning on, I might have to plug it in, maybe the battery. Oh no, it did turn on. So you'll hear the chime, the screen will go off. If the screen goes off, you can let go, or you can keep holding it if you don't see it, and you should hear the chime come on at full volume. All right, so there you go. And that looks like that's pretty much it. It's working well. All right, we'll give it a few seconds for the MacBook to boot up. And there you go. All right, I don't want to show the username, so we're going to leave it there. And let's go ahead and shut it down. Okay, we'll close it up. And then we can just put back all the screws. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, again, please make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Anyways, we're going to be putting back all the screws. These are the P5 or Pentalobe 1.2 screws. And that's pretty much it. All right. So they recommend when you first use the new battery, if you want to prolong the life of the battery, to They don't say it on the packaging, but usually you want to keep it between 20 and 80%. Most people aren't going to do that. So one thing I can recommend, if you're using your MacBook, if you leave it plugged in, make sure when you're not using your MacBook to just unplug the battery and close the screen or shut it down. Most people don't even bother shutting down their MacBooks, so the most I can say is if you see your MacBook at 100% and you're not going to be using it for a while, like you're just leaving it sitting overnight, just disconnect the charger, and that should help prolong the battery life a bit. And then every so often, maybe every week or so, just use the battery down to like 20% or so, and then you can go ahead and charge it back up. Because if the battery stays at 100% all the time, that's actually not good for the battery. And these types of batteries also don't like to drain completely to zero. So you want to try and avoid hitting like below 20% if you can help it. Once in a while is okay, but if you let it go below zero, or if you let it hit zero to where it shuts itself off and then you leave it sitting for a long time, that's actually really bad for the battery, so you want to be careful with that. Alright, so anyways, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, let's drop this. Bye.